Hello and welcome back everyone, and today we have a video going over Jordan Wiseley's top 10 challenge moments. I've compiled a list of 10 moments that I think are his best moments in his challenge career so far. Disclaimer, the rankings of these moments are my personal ranks. They are based purely on my perspective and my opinion. So if you feel there is a moment that you think I rank too low, don't get angry. Just let me know down in the comment section below. Now, before we can get into the top 10 moments, I have a few honorable mentions that I want to get to. First of which being Jordan helping to get Anissa into a challenge final in season 38. Now, this feat seemed impossible to some, as Anissa had not made the challenge finals since season 17, the Duel 2. And then a whopping 21 seasons later, being paired up with a player like Jordan, here they were in the challenge finals in season 38. The next honorable mention is an iconic challenge moment, and that was Jordan in season 25 Free Agents flipping all the cards in the draw. Some, I'm sure, would have this in the top 10 moments in challenge history, not just in Jordan's top 10 moments. The only reason why I have it outside of the top 10 moments is because Jordan didn't win the elimination. So for me personally, even though this is an incredible challenge moment and TV moment, I don't necessarily deem it one of Jordan's top 10 moments because he wasn't able to go into the elimination and take care of business. All right, now let's jump into the top 10. We'll start off with a more recent elimination win, and that is in season 38, the in-your-face elimination, where it was Jordan and Anissa facing off against Laurel and Jack. In the eliminations, players had to move cinder blocks from one station to another to release a set of balls. One player would play goalie while the other player would go on the offense to knock out 10 targets. This was shaping up to be a really solid elimination, and it was very fun to watch. Jordan put on a clinic showing off his arm. He had a background in baseball and football, so he was in his element. And Anissa did a great job as goalie. Both Laurel and Jack looked like they were running out of gas as the elimination went on, which opened the door for Jordan and Anissa. And what made this elimination pretty memorable for me was at the very end, when Jordan only had to hit one more target, he looked up at Michelle and Jay, calling them out as he threw the last ball to win this elimination.
What did I say?
Number 9 on this list, we're going to season 34, episode 11, where Jordan was having to go up against Theo Campbell in the Under the Hammer elimination. Now, for this particular elimination, Jordan was voted in by his own USA team. By this time, we knew Jordan's background with construction work and how impressive he is with a sledgehammer. Theo took an early lead, but Jordan was able to get the rhythm down. Jordan was able to get this win over Theo, stay in the game, but not only stay in the game, but turncoat to go to the UK team to be alongside his then fiance, Tori. And speaking of which, this is the elimination where Jordan won and then proposed to afterwards before turncoating over to the UK team, which makes it very memorable. On to number 8, and this is Jordan's first win, season 26, Battle of the X's 2. Now, some people might question how a win can be low on a list of top 10 moments. Now, I understand, a win on the challenge is a major accomplishment, but looking back at this final, once the partnerships of Wes and Teresa and Bananas and Nani were gone from the season, it basically was Jordan and Sarah's final to lose. Not to downplay the accomplishments of the finalists here, but Jay and Jenna were rookies on the season, and you kind of felt like they were going to get third place if they would have made it through the final. Leroy and Teresa didn't have the experience of being partnered with each other for too long on the season. Teresa came in as a replacement for Leroy's original partner, Naya, and so these two players, who were relatively strong players, just did not have the chemistry with each other and kind of were just jumping in right at the finals with one another. So when it came down to it, you had this really powerful duo of Jordan and Sarah who had been able to run the whole game with each other, win multiple daily challenges, win an elimination. Sarah at this point was going into her 4th final. Jordan had only been to one other final, but Jordan had shown great potential up to this point that when it came down to the tasks and these finals, Sarah and Jordan got off to a lead and never looked back. Speaking of Jordan's first win, now we'll go to number 7 for Jordan's first elimination win, which happened in Season 24, Rivals 2 in Episode 7, where the rookies of Jordan and Marlon were facing off against Leroy and Ty in the Last Chance elimination. The Last Chance elimination was a Hall Brawl variant where each side had an offensive and defensive player. Marlon played defense and Jordan played offense. This elimination went 3 action-packed rounds. In round 1, TJ had to check the tapes because it was a photo finish to see who rang their bell first, and the results showed that Jordan was able to ring his bell mere tenths of a second before Ty. The second round was a romp. Ty and Leroy overtook Jordan and Marlon to easily even things out 1-1. It all came down to the third and final round. Now this final round was highly contested, with Marlon holding on to Ty for dear life, keeping him from ringing the bell by mere inches. Jordan was scrapping with Leroy trying to break free. It didn't look good for Jordan and Marlon as they were still on their side of the arena while Ty and Leroy were so close. But somehow, Jordan escaped Leroy's grip, ran the length of the arena, and rang the bell to win the elimination. This was a fantastic first elimination overall to start off a challenge career, and for Jordan and Marlon to be able to win against such physical players of Leroy and Ty to get their first win in their rookie season, it's super impressive to me. At number 6, we have Jordan's 4th challenge win, winning in the global spinoff of World Championship. Jordan was a target early on in the season, but thanks to his social game and skills, he was able to only go into 1 elimination, win against Johnny Bananas and Justine from Love Island. After that elimination win, he was able to make some deals with some strong players, make his way to a finals, and though this final was set up to be a battle of the Titans, Jordan and Kaz was able to win pretty handedly. I mean, the first day was close, with Jordan and Kaz just getting in first place, but when it came down to the second day, that's when everything really started to unravel. You had Sarah and Theo getting medically disqualified, albeit in the first day. You had Casey's body shutting down on her because it was rumored that her IV wasn't taking, and so she wasn't properly hydrated for the second day. And Tori's inability to ride a bike really sunk her and Danny's chances of really being strong competitors in the final stretch of this game, which means Jordan and Kaz were the most consistent players in the finals. They stayed at a consistent, steady pace, and they were able to get this win. But I would have put this higher overall if it was a closer finish with the other teams. But it just seemed like Jordan and Kaz ran away with this. Now we're hitting into the top 5, and at number 5, we're jumping back to Season 34, Episode 13, for Jordan's 2nd elimination win in the end of the rope elimination. This elimination was a strategic tug of war where Jordan was coming into the game knowing he'd have to use his brain more than brawn. Honestly, I think this is one of Jordan's most impressive moments on the challenge. Sure, Jordan playing a tug-of-war game with only one hand was going to be an uphill battle, and it was a struggle. But because he faced off against Josh, he was able to easily outwit him, outplay him, outmatch him 3 rounds to nothing in a best-of-5 elimination. Like, you can never count out Jordan in an elimination matchup, but it just felt like watching this elimination and him just winning round after round after round. It made it feel like Jordan was doing the impossible. This was such a fun game to watch, and the edit was so entertaining, getting to hear Jordan's strategy and thought process throughout the entire elimination.
Pull up on one foot, make him think that he's almost got me off. I let it go again.
Cracking into the top 4, let's go back to Season 26, Battle of the Exes 2, where Jordan and Sarah were having to face off against Zach and John A in the Hammer at Home elimination. In this elimination, teams were going to have to move their steel beam from one side of the track to another using a sledgehammer. Given Zach's muscles and size, a lot of the cast members, and I would assume a lot of the audience, would feel that Zach had this one in the bag. But this is where we learn of Jordan's background in construction, and he showed that he wasn't able just to keep up with Zach, but to surpass him. And this was an easy elimination win for Jordan and Sarah, and this made a sizable impression with not just the cast of the challenge, but also the audience, kind of proving that Jordan should never be discounted or underrated going into any elimination matchup against anybody doing anything. All right, here we go. Getting into the top 3 Jordan moments. And at number 3, we have Jordan and Darrell going head to head in an elimination on All-Stars 3. Now, just these 2 players alone going up against each other should be a top challenge moment, but they were facing off against each other in the steamroller elimination. In the elimination, the 2 players would get in a tube with each other, and then they would try to move the tube to get to their side of the arena. Darrell, who had a lot more muscle mass and was heavier than Jordan, had a big advantage as the weight of the player could greatly determine who would win this elimination. Jordan, knowing that, he dispersed his body weight equally to where there was a certain point where Darrell couldn't push the tube closer to his side of the arena. At that point, it became a waiting game to see who could outlast who the longest. And during that time, Jordan wasn't just trying to whittle Darrell down physically, but also mentally, as he was trash talking him the entire time.
How many cookies you eat the other day? You give up. You did in the challenge. Come on, Darrell!
Darrell's body said, I can't go on anymore. He got out of the tube in pain, had to be put on a stretcher and taken to the hospital. This elimination ending is wild and just goes to show how impressive these 2 players and how far they were willing to go to win an elimination against each other. Number 2 on this list of top 10 Jordan moments is his win in Season 34 War of the Worlds 2. This has to be one of, if not Jordan's toughest season, from his own teams of the USA and UK teams, sending him into multiple eliminations, enduring a giant alliance taking multiple opportunities to send not just him, but his fiance into multiple eliminations to ultimately make it to a finals. Yes, he had CT on his final team, but being in a final with significantly less players is always a risk, especially when half your team is made up of unproven players who had never made the finals before. Throughout this entire season on Season 34, Jordan showed passion, tenacity, skills, brawn, endurance, stamina, an unwavering faith in his own abilities and the abilities of his team. There was no stopping them if they made it to a certain point. And once in those finals, there was no stopping Jordan. His team was able to not only win day 1 against the USA team, but straight up rout them, finishing up way ahead of them, being able to win in a puzzle to not get purged before the second stage of the finals, and then once they made it into the second stage, the Team UK of Jordan, CT, and the rest were able to pull out this win over a very stacked, experienced USA team. I think winning in Season 34 with Jordan's feet to the fire the entire time is very impressive, but not as impressive as the number 1 moment that I have on this list, and that is his win in Season 30. Now, the regular season on Season 30 wasn't hit with too much adversity on Jordan's side. He did put a target on his back after a terrible bus battle rap. He went into 1 elimination. He was purged to go into the Redemption House. He was able to win himself back into the game, but the most adversity Jordan faced in Season 30 was in the finals, where Jordan hit the earth so hard after they were trying to skydive just to the starting line. Like, this isn't even when the finals began. Come to find out, he had a hairline fracture in his leg, yet he was like, I'm good to go. These finals were tough. They had tough tasks. They had tough competition. This is one of the most stacked finals in challenge history, in my opinion, where Jordan had to face off against CT and Derek, 2 multi-time challenge champions, and for Jordan to continue these finals as injured as he was, going up against stiff competition, and for him to come out with a win, that is not just one of the most impressive Jordan moments, I think it's one of the most impressive challenge moments in challenge history. It just goes to show the type of competitor Jordan is, and his drive to win knows no bounds, knows no limitations. But that is it for the top 10 moments of Jordan Wiseley's challenge career so far. What do you think about this list? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you agree with my list and my rankings? If not, let me know why or why not down in the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.